Ahoy! Captain Benzie here, coming at you with another of these quick little thought piece videos on the impact of older games. Now, I got a lot of positive feedback for my Unreal Tournament video. Apparently a lot of people enjoyed the trip down memory lane and the personal touch of what the game meant to me, and so it only felt natural for me to also cover Quake 3 Arena. As before, I do apologise for the audio quality comparative to my usual content. My PC headset is a lot lower quality than the Razer Hammerhead ANCs that I use when recording content on my Razer Phone 2. I am still editing on the Razer Phone, but the capture was, of course, done on PC. Quake 3 is listed by Super Bitmachine as one of the inspirations behind Armajet, so I'm just going to play a few matches against the bots and discuss the inspirational links between this game and Armajet, how Quake 3 Arena affected the gaming world, and what it means to me personally. I do hope you enjoy this video. This kind of unscripted content is a big step away from my usual content, but I do really enjoy doing it and I feel that it helps me grow. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, but I think I've rambled on enough, so let's jump in and start fragging.
Now, I won't lie, Quake 3 Arena is not quite on that same level. You know, Unreal Tournament, for those who haven't watched the video and have just come straight to this one, was a game that, at that point in time, I was playing it with my best friend at the time who had skull cancer. And that skull cancer eventually took him. And we played Unreal Tournament at his funeral. Unreal Tournament was it was our game. It was what we played together. And it meant a lot to us on that front. Quake 3 Arena doesn't have quite that same gravitas to me. But it was still a very important game. And sorry, I absolutely suck at this game. But it was a very important game for me. So in secondary school, it might surprise you to hear, in secondary school I was not unbelievable. I was bullied. Not physically bullied, but I had a fair amount of stuff stolen, hidden from me, a lot of verbal abuse, that kind of thing. So I spent a lot of my secondary school years, the lunchtimes, at first, hiding in the toilets. Genuinely, I know that sounds pathetic, but that's what I did. Eventually we found an area above the sports hall that no one else seemed to go to over lunch, and we used to sit playing Magic the Gathering and stuff like that up there. Now, as the years passed, eventually I became a computer prefect. Yes, shock, surprise, I became the Class A capital level, top grade nerd. But that's what that afforded me a lot of opportunities. I very quickly got Quake 3 Arena, which I had the discs for, stuck onto the school system. I snuck it in there, and myself and my friends, we would play LAN parties over lunchtime. It was our way of escaping without sounding too dramatic, escaping the horrors of everyone else. It was our way of getting away from the bullies. And the fact was, anyone who wanted to do like any computer-based homework over lunch would ultimately have a choice. They could go to the computers in the library and use those, or if they wanted to use the nicer computers in the computer labs, they would have to be nice to me and essentially let them in. I kept that room locked otherwise, because we were playing Quake 3. And that's still what we did. You know, people would come in and play all this, and they knew that they couldn't, like, rat us out, because, heck, you rat me out to the computer guys that we've got Quake 3 installed, and that's what we're doing on our lunch break, I'm just going to ban you from using the computer room. It gave me power that I didn't even realize that I could ever possibly have. And I know that sounds pretty jerkish, but hey, you know, years of being treated like crap, I finally had a bit of power under my belt instead. It felt good. It felt good, and a big part of that for me was Quake 3. You know, I got to play this, and so this has that memory attached of me actually taking command in a situation and having a bit of power and social standing. I was never particularly good at the game. Quake 3 ultimately uses the same formula as Unreal Tournament, but in a different way. And that's what I'm going to cover now by what Quake 3 Arena means sort of to the gaming world at large, because it does mean a lot of different things to Unreal Tournament. Both of the games were, I'm pretty sure, 1999 releases. I could be wrong on that, and I'm sure there'll be someone in the comment section who can correct me if I did get that wrong. but both Unreal Tournament and Quake 3 were about the same time, at the very least, very similar time period as each other. And I kind of... Unreal Tournament took that approach of throw everything into the pot. It had a few more game modes, it had more weapons. I mean, Quake has, what, 9 weapons? Unreal Tournament has 10, 11, and each of those has 2 firing modes. You know, like the flak launcher is a grenade launcher and a shotgun in one, or, you know, there's different firing modes on the same weapon. There's a lot more variety in Unreal Tournament there is in Quake. Quake has, I think, 9 weapons off the top of my head. Unreal Tournament seemed to be a little bit more forgiving and a little bit more emphasis on the carnage. Like, shotguns had a wider spread. Missiles moved that little bit far. You know, rockets from the rocket launcher moved that little bit faster. Ow. Rockets had that bit more, you know, it had a bit more splash damage to them. Whereas Quake, that's a bit more minimalized. You know, you are actually expected to aim a little bit more. But there is a purity in Quake 3 that isn't in Unreal Tournament. Quake 3 kind of knew what it wanted to be and focused exactly on being just that. It wanted to be balls to the wall, tight, competition-based shooter. Not to say that it doesn't have its own little bit of humour. I mean, weird monster character here, and look at Lucy here. That is a rather large woman, covered in tattoos, wearing a leotard and ripped tights. Yeah. But for the gaming community, Quake 3 kind of became... If esports had been taken that little bit more seriously early on, this would have been the game that really took to it. The competitiveness of Quake 3 is still abundant to this day. People are still playing this game competitively. They still, you know, I went to Play Expo in Manchester and Blackpool, where there are some pretty serious, like, Street Fighter tournaments and stuff going on. And out the back, they are still doing Quake 3 tournaments as well. You know, that's impressive for a game this old to still have that tournament scene. Had esports been sort of taken seriously back when this came out, this would have been one of the first major ones. So, you know, there's a certain amount, I think, of just gravitas that has to be given to it for that. A certain amount of respect earned just on that front. This game defined the genre. There are tropes here that you see in every other arena shooter. Things from, like, now, the super ridiculously overpowered weaponry in certain cases. Like 1 or 2 super powered weapons. The fact that there's always a damage amplifier in the shape of the game's logo. Invisibility, armor, weapon power-ups. A lot of this is stuff that ultimately came to be part of... I'm going to say it became part of the Battle Royale genre. This game ultimately inspired the PUBGs and the Fortnites. Without Quake, you wouldn't be playing PUBG or Fortnite. I really believe it is as simple as that. So of course Quake 3 has a huge place in the gaming world. As I said, the fact that it is still played competitive to this day is impressive, but it's got a lot of accolades under its belt. It means a lot of things to a lot of people. Armajet included. You know, again, there's a lot you can unpack here that is reference to Armajet. I'm going to go straight out there by pointing out that, of course, like with Unreal Tournament, there is the announcer. That deep-voiced, over-the-top announcer. There's the various different types of weaponry. I mean, of course, Armajet has its own versions on things like the plasma gun. That plasma gun you saw me using there is pretty much the Locust. Moving through, sorry. Armajet does miss things like the shotgun. But here, the lightning gun. That is clearly the Thunderstorm. Short range gun that shoots endless stream of lightning. That's the Thunderstorm right there. And I don't know, there's certain things about the weapon speed that, you know, to me are referential there as well, but ultimately there's so little I can really say in this one in particular that lists it exactly as a reference, whereas, you know, a lot of it's just clearly thematic. A lot of it is you can feel the similarities between this and Armajet. You can feel that the people who are making Armajet played Quake 3, just by how the game plays, the kind of aesthetics, the ideas. But what can Armajet still learn from this? A surprising amount. For one, I would prefer Armajet to successfully balance itself the same way that Quake 3 did. The fact is, here, as I said, this machine gun that I'm using now, the basic weapon that you get every time you respawn, is actually a viable weapon. There are some people who play this game competitively in tournaments who will use nothing but the machine gun. It is their main weapon of choice. The rocket launcher is just as good. You know, all of these weapons stand out. In Unreal Tournament, let's be honest, the shock rifle, the bio rifle, and arguably a couple of the other weapons just never get used because there's no point. You would only use them if there was something else at hand first. You use them until you get something else. Yeah, sure, that's how most people treat the machine gun here, that it's that weapon you use until you can grab something like a rocket launcher or a ow. It's something you use until you can get a shotgun or a rocket launcher or a lightning gun or a plasma gun or whatever it is that you want to use. But the fact is, you can use that main weapon. Every weapon is viable. That's something I think Armajet is going for, and I think is important. I speak a lot with other people playing Armajet, and there's certainly this whole thing of we want Armajet to be taken seriously competitively. We want it to be like an e-sport. And I think you kind of have to... Quake 3 didn't expect itself to be an e-sport. It just kind of almost turned into one on its own. I think Armajet needs to relax a little on the e-sport front. Balance itself so that every weapon can be used, every weapon is fun and fair, and then let the competitive side take over from there. You know, this game wasn't made with competitive pro tournaments in mind. It was made with the idea that a group of friends would all get together and blow each other up in new and exciting ways. And so that's what I would hope Armajet can be. As a mobile game, it's what Armajet really should be, I would argue. It's something you can pick up and play quickly, blow your friends up, and if you get to the point where you're pro level at it, then you take it from there. But the game itself is this pure, beautiful beast. So balance is one of the things I think Armajet could learn from this. I've mentioned kill quips in the Unreal Tournament video. This game doesn't really have them. There are sort of text-based kill quips, but nothing audio. I do still want the Unreal Tournament audio kill quips in Armajet. To me, that would be awesome. But there we go. Down we go. As for weapon types, I would love a game mode where, like you saw me earlier using the BFG, and I'll let you work out what that stands for those who don't know from the Doom series. Let me just give you a clue. The first weapon is big, and the third letter is gun. You do the rest. I'd kind of love there to be a mode in Armajet where you do have a weapon pickup like this that's not just the double damage. But yeah, I think also maps. Quake 3 just has a load of really pure, good fun maps. Unreal Tournament, there are some brilliant maps and some really bad ones. This, if I jump back to the menu now just to talk about this, there are tons here. Tons of really great maps that are so thematically different, but just do so much with what they have. But anyway, that kind of, I think, covers my thoughts on what I would like to see. No, one thing more, sorry. Going back and into setup. Player. Check this out. How many different characters and how varied these characters are. for this game. Just like the amount of options and choices there are here is insane, and I'd love to see Armajet add a bit more of that in. This kind of, you can make your character almost anything. A few more flight suits and different things, and of course, you know, let's have a look at like John Carmack himself and all the different devs from this game. I don't know. I think there's a lot that can be learned from this, but Armajet does everything it does so well. You know, I'm happy with it. Anyway, I think that pretty much covers everything I want to say about Quake 3 Arena in response to Armajet and myself in the gaming world at large. I do hope you've enjoyed this. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. Were you playing Quake 3 Arena when it came out? Is it a game you have fond memories of? Come join me on the Gaming Galleon Discord as well. Let me know there. And otherwise, I will see you all in an arena soon. Happy sailing.